So you may have heard the news that Utah was named the best state to live in all of America. And you may be wondering why, because little Utah, right? Little Utah. And it's good to know why, because people have been moving here in droves for years and years. So you may be missing out if you don't know why Utah is such an awesome place to live, because I can only see that more and more people are going to keep moving here and prices are just going to keep going up. So you may be missing out if you don't know why Utah is such a great place to live. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
So if you're wondering who named Utah the best state to live, it was US News and World Report. So they do this big comprehensive report every year. They rank every state and they use different categories. So Utah was named #1 best overall, and then the categories they use is crime and corrections, education, healthcare, natural environment, economy, fiscal stability, infrastructure, and opportunity. So
we seem to be always on those top 10 lists for a lot of things.
Yes, it is. It's funny. So I'm not from Utah, but I have a friend and she actually is from Utah. She doesn't live here anymore, but she would always talk about how much she loves Utah. And then I always think to myself, like, Utah?
It has a different ring.
Yeah, it does.
And maybe that's a pro sometimes. That's a pro for us.
Yeah.
Because people think, oh, Utah, and not really familiar with it.
Yeah.
So that's how we've been able to kind of keep secret on the down low.
Yeah, but now that we've moved here, I always text her and I'm like, you were right. Like, Utah is a great state. And she's like, I love my state. See, I told you. And now she's moving back to Utah, actually. So yeah, she's going back.
You know what, I can add to that. My cousins used to always think when they came to visit us, like, when do we go home, right? But now they're thinking, when can we buy? When is the next time we can buy into this?
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I feel like the secret's out.
The secret's out.
Yes, Utah is a great place, great state to live. And if you actually look, so on the rankings, Utah placed as the top spot not only for economy but also fiscal stability. Yeah, so here, obviously, at least at the time I was recording, we have very low unemployment rates, very business friendly. Yeah, it's just a great state to do business.
Entrepreneur friendly.
Yes, I would say. And then just because we are talking about economy, obviously, so we're here in southern Utah. That's different than the Salt Lake City area. Southern Utah is much more similar in terms of climate to Las Vegas. We're actually only an hour and 45 minutes away from Las Vegas. And I would say the economy here, while strong, it's just much smaller.
Right. We're the southwest corner.
Yeah.
In fact, we're about 5 hours driving time from Salt Lake City.
Yeah, so, and if you are thinking about moving to Utah and the Salt Lake City area, I mean, you can still call that number. We have a team up in Salt Lake City, so call or text that number. We can totally help you out, even though we ourselves are located in southern Utah. So before we continue, let's just introduce ourselves. My name is Courtney Dezad.
And I'm Sue Halterman.
And we are licensed realtors here in the state of Utah. And if you are thinking about moving out here to this wonderful state of Utah, call or text that number right there. Call or text that number. It is a cell phone, and we can get you started on finding that perfect property for you. So now let's talk about how Utah was ranked #4 for infrastructure. And what they mean by that is, like energy costs, internet access. And yes, the energy costs here are very low.
Significantly low, as said by my buyers.
Yes, when we moved here, my husband and I, we were shocked by how low our bill is, especially in the summer when the air conditioning is on 24 hours a day. And we're just like, whoa, that is the cost?
That's the cost.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I brought some receipts for us, Courtney, so that they can get an idea of what we pay. So these things are just, the normal for me, but I understand my buyers are just blown away about how much money they can save on utilities. And so I want to say that, to combine all my utilities, I pay not more than $400 a month.
Yeah.
And that is during the summer and the winter time.
Yeah.
Summer is when we have the high heat, so we're using that electricity all day. So that's what I pay, is not more than $400.
We're very similar. Like, all utilities combined is about $400, and like you say, we're using a lot of energy, so it's kind of crazy. And we both have like bigger houses, so.
Yeah.
And then another category that Utah got ranked was education. So it ranked #5, and when they split it up into pre-K to 12th grade, it was #9, and then #6 for higher education. And then just anecdotally, I would have to say that I've noticed the education here is fantastic.
But the community cares.
Yes, the community cares, that's true. And then here in St. George, we have Utah Tech, which is a 4-year university. It's getting very, very popular because it's very good value. and it's a very good education.
A lot of kids are coming, and we've got enough housing.
Yeah, actually, so I actually have a friend, like, she's much younger than me, but she's there, and she just goes on and on about how much she loves Utah Tech and just what a great value it is, and she's like, my brothers are gonna come here, so yeah.
The kids have fun here. There's lots of outdoors things for them to do.
Yeah. So the next category is healthcare. So if you're thinking about retiring here in Utah, that's probably like a big question that you have. And Utah ranked number 7 in the entire United States for healthcare. And yes, I mean, we have great healthcare here. We have a great hospital here, the St. George Regional Hospital. So if you look on rankings lists, it's always ranked very, very high for the state. I mean, I see license plates there all the time from Nevada. People driving up from Nevada to go to that facility. So,
and I understand that doctors want to work here too.
Yes.
I mean, this is a spot they're waiting to get in.
Yes, that is true. That's something that we've actually heard anecdotally too. So you're getting like the best doctors because people are competing to get the jobs here. Yeah, so that's just a great aspect of living here in Utah. And then the next category was opportunity. And they said that, I guess the way they did it was based off of affordability, economic opportunity, and equality. And it came in at number 20. And I will say, like, the affordability here is, people think Utah's cheap, but because Utah's been discovered, like, the prices have just gone up and up and up. And I'm specifically talking about housing prices. So, I mean, I just think that the builders, they can't keep up with demand. And while our housing here isn't insanely expensive or anything like that, like, if you're coming from a very high cost of living state like California, New York, Hawaii, it's definitely lower here, but it is higher than the national average. Yeah, so that's, I mean, Utah's been discovered.
It's been discovered.
Yeah, people,
so get here.
Yeah. If you think like 10 years ago, right? I just think in another 10 years, like, where's it going to go? Because people are just moving here in droves, so.
It is. To note on the builders, they say that they're about 8 months out. From the time you sign a contract to the end, you're about 8 months out.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just something to know. But obviously there's plenty of housing here that's not new construction as well.
Plenty.
So, yeah. Okay, and then the worst category that Utah got ranked for was natural environment. And that might be surprising to people because Utah's known for, you know, being this majestic beauty. But I think, so if you read the article, it really has a lot to do with pollution.
It does.
Yeah, and if you actually, so we're in southern Utah. So in northern Utah and Salt Lake City, they have what's called the inversion effect, and that's from like November to March, right? And that's just mostly because of the geography of how the mountains are, and the smog kind of just settles.
In the valley.
Yeah, it settles in the bowl. So yeah, you definitely notice it. And then, you know, I would say that, I guess in exchange, like any state that's like very economically viable and there's very pro-business, I would say like in exchange for that, it's not as like, well, it doesn't do as well in curbing pollution. So I would say Utah kind of falls into that.
I agree.
Yeah, so it's, you know, having to do with water quality, that kind of stuff. So I would say that's why Utah got ranked so low on that. But if you're talking about just like natural beauty, I mean, there's really no state that's better than Utah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the only thing we don't have here is an ocean, but everything else is just, we got beautiful lakes, beautiful reservoirs.
Watering holes.
Beautiful mountains. It's just, that's why people live here, is because of the majestic beauty of the state. And remember, we are licensed real estate agents here in the state of Utah, so if you were thinking about moving out here to the beautiful Beehive state, don't forget to call or text that number right there. That is a cell phone, and we can get you started on finding that perfect property for you.
And don't worry what time. Call anytime.
Yes, call anytime. Anytime we're available.